start pitching the ideas to the students and have the students pitch back what they are thinking. So I can go through and talk about my stories, how I've done it. So I'll take the first hit. I'll go in front of the firing squad and teach them that this is how you pitch a show. So get ready to do your pitch. So the pitch we should have already figured out. You should have written this story. We've been thinking about it for months. Get ready to write your pitch. So this week we're doing the pitch. So the pitch is explaining in a concise manner. You got 5 minutes, let's say, to pitch your idea. So it's hitting those major points. So like, what are you going to talk about? So it should not take you long. It's like the elevator speech that's sometimes referred to as, is if you're stuck in an elevator with somebody for a limited amount of time, like let's say you got 10 floors and you're sitting in front of some kind of director who can make all your hopes and dreams come true, or this is the owner of like Apple or Tesla or whatever, like your dream job, boo boo boo. Like this person is in the elevator with you and you recognize them and you're like, okay, they hit the 10th floor, so I've got theoretically 10 floors to make an impression on this person and get my idea made. Like it's essentially the idea of Shark Tank, but like more specific. But so you've got the chance to make your pitch. What are you going to pitch? So you have to have that speech ready. If that hypothetical situation would come about, you'd be ready for this situation. And this could make or break your life, you know? So that's what the pitch is. So you need to have this pitch. So in this scenario, we are people wanting to get our stories published and get the idea of media, you know? Like, we don't want to be just the people that make the things. Yes, we want to do that. We want to make the things, you know, you want this to be your baby. So my ultimate vision is that I get to make this. So I need to learn everything about this, whatever this thing, that one thing is. And I need to know as much about it. So if I was making my hypothetical movie, I'd have to be pitching the idea of either the dragon angel and how that whole persona could be built. And so I need to know what that looks like, how the story would be, like get that whole plot set up so that I'm ready. And so if somebody gave you the chance and said, go, because that's really what you're looking for, is I can make your hopes and dreams come true. So what's your dream? Better make it good. I'm the magic genie. So you want to be ready for that hypothetical moment in your life, because that's what you're striving for. This is your life's goal, literally and figuratively. So what's your life goal? So be able to pitch that. I know everything inside and out. I've thought about this. I know these characters. I know the setting. I know the storyline, the climax, conclusion, all the things. I've thoroughly researched it. This is what the people are going to look like. This is what I want. I'm going to give this direction. I am forming this idea. I am making the artwork so that this idea can be made. But I need to know everything about that idea. So what's the story? What are the characters like? What's the setting? Why is the person acting this way? Or what's the driving faculties or the restraints or constraints? Think about all the things that you need to do in order for this idea to be successful. This is what art is for production media, for print media, for any design-based material culture. You need to know about a product that you And you should be focusing on something that you love, something that you're interested in, something that you're good at. Like, I have a lot of experience with this. This is my life. And therefore, I can support the growth of this idea. I have everything to make the seed go. So, art becomes this idea of forming and shaping this idea, and the whole idea of production in mass media is to get this fully formed idea. Looking at anything well done, I'm going to use the example of Arcane, which I thought was beautifully done. The League of Legends lore backstory. It's a new standard. They did it. They spent 6 years on this project, and they're like designing these characters. Like, if you look at their video games, they're just characters, and this is what the characters do. Now, why can they do these? They've intimately unpackaged what this seed is. They've let that bloom, metaphorically speaking. And that's what art is today. Is we need seeds of fruition. We need development of ideas. We need to stop thinking like inchoate. How do you say that? The root word is inchoate. It's a thought yet not fully formed. Is basically what it is. So it's knee-jerk reactions. It's like an idea without much thought. It's really what an inchoate thought is. So that is what social media has done to us. This immediate gratification, this pop culture right now, what's hip, what's new, keep turning it over, blah blah blah. But the problem is it's exhausting. Like, nothing has meaning. It's just, how can we get you to respond to us as quickly as possible and move on? TikTok, TikTok quality. The let's not think these things through too much. Otherwise, they won't be funny, or they won't be interesting, or they won't be relevant. So, getting past this, breaking these thresholds, is what the idea of mass media should be. I mean, there's a lot of ideas there, but where can we take these ideas? How do we elevate them and make them worth more? How do we make them into an art form? True art is something in its fullest thought, in the ability to communicate it all. Yeah. Communicating it all in one concise form. Like, that's what all of what art has always been, is this is what we know right now. Everything that has led up to this point, this needle, is what art must be. And unless we consider everything, it's not fully formed. We haven't taken the time to nurture this idea. But this is not something that happens quickly. It's not immediate. This is the long haul. This is the investment. This is the unpackagement of one idea. I mean, that's what doctorates really steer you towards. Like, you got to think about this. Oh yeah, I think about it. But then you need to have all the references, where you got it from. So literally, you got to document every thought you've ever had and the reference that made you think that. And like, when your mind works that fast and in that many different levels, good luck, right? So the whole idea of the doctorate is, in my opinion, convoluted. Here's the piece of paper that says you know this stuff and you thought about it, okay? And I struggled for it, and I wanted it. But ultimately, it was wrong. And I needed to think about that. And it plugged up my art for a long time. But like, I was still doing the research. I was still doing the development, looking at everything, you know. Well, I'm going to travel here, and I'm going to travel there, and I'm going to hang out with these people, and I'm going to do that thing, and I'm going to like just pull from the things. But eventually you kind of fine tune, and I knew I liked the outdoors, so that became more of like, what is this? What are these things? These areas that are unleased, because everything is inhibited, but if you really want to get semantic about it, but the focus on the areas that are least impacted by human beings in the world, you know, so natural areas, if you want to call it that. And that's the definition of natural, is like as far removed from human influence as possible, nature, because we're on the other side of the spectrum. We're the mechanical. We always thought it was the mechanical that was on the far end, and it still is, but it's how far we push ourselves away. So we are the catalyst for the technology that removes us. Anytime we can think we can do it better than what is when it becomes less human. So we by getting to the point is by looking at art as a form of refinement and inclusion of everything, a filter. Like, here's all the things, we're filtering it into this one point, this idea of, I know where to go. I want this. I've done the research. This is what I want. Here's the specific. And then unpackaging that for the world. And that's essentially what social media tries to do. How can I reach the most? But you got to really think something through the whole way, and that's the misfocus of social media. Is you should be finding what the most think about, and then the least common denominator for that. So what is the best for the most? Not everyone, for the most. And these are the archetypes, or the tropes, or the genres, the distilled down thoughts and capabilities. But you have to think about things, and you need to keep filtering it down, and then see how that one filtered thing applies to as many people. So that's the miss, is we're trying to break things down, but we're going the wrong way. We're trying to look at things past the point of good, like the progression trap, if you will. Like, we knew it worked really good up until this point, but man, after that point, it really got really messy. Like, the Industrial Revolution was a mistake. Deconstruction to past the point of purpose was a mistake. Like, postmodernism was a mistake. So we need to learn from those things. So we gotta start putting things back together, because everything's too fragmented right now. Everyone's fragmented. There is no unity. So if we want unity, we need to start heading back up the hill. We're down here. Got to start going back up. But unfortunately, I think we're going to drive down more and really just make it civil war till there's so much hatred fed, because there is no unity, there is no connection, there is no how do we work together anymore. It's just, how are we different, and how are you wronging me? That's where we are as a society. How are you wronging me, instead of how can I do better for you? So this becomes the art, whatever that may be. Whatever you choose to do your best in it. Don't talk about why you can't do it. Start figuring out how you can and why you can and what resources you need so that you can do it. Self-sufficiency, independence is finding what you're good at and seeing how it applies with the rest of the world, not taking it all apart. That's dependency. You're always dependent on what everybody else is doing instead of worrying about what you are doing. If you don't know what you're doing, everybody else does. As my good friend Nathaniel once said. So, these are what the talks must be. Make them more practical for the students. If I'm going to say, hey, do this, don't talk about it in theory. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm showing you from my life. This is why I'm telling you to do this, because I'm doing this. I'm doing this right now. That's what the teacher does. I'm showing you how to do this. But if I can't do it, or I'm not doing it myself, I shouldn't be teaching you. Because if I don't know how to explain it to myself, how am I supposed to explain it to you? This becomes the refinement of education and the perspective of any students that come across a teacher that teaches that way. Do more, do better. Yep. Okay, I'm done. Do more, do better.